other fun things we will be doing this evening. Speaking of fun, with me, I've got a just a barrel of fun in the shape of a person, and that person is David Demchuk. Um, David, please say hello to the people.
Hello to the people.
Yes,
Yes,
perfect. You're
I
coming
am the
through
king
great.
of fun.
Yeah, I mean, just you can just kind of tell you look like a fun guy. David,
Thanks.
welcome. It's good to see you. It's been a while.
It's good to see you too. Although currently I'm not seeing you, I'm seeing a logo, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's right. I can. I forgot. Here, let me turn the. I'll turn the video back on in the green room, so to speak, and that should fix
There
it. There you
you
go.
are.
Okay, that's a little bit better. You're welcome. David. So, yes, you're. Let's see. I mean, gosh, we've known each other for well over 10 years at this point. It has
Yes,
been quite some time. Somehow I keep aging and you stay the same age. How do you do that?
by starting at 60
Nailed it.
and just, the wrinkles just at a certain point, there's no room to add more. So, there you go.
It's the Harrison Ford effect. Is yeah, he just at a certain age, you're just
Exactly.
that age forever now. Yeah,
That's
that makes
correct.
sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I was I remember I think a few months ago I saw the uh, little announcement about your upcoming new book. I mean, this will be what? This will be the three for
This
you
will be
now.
the third book, yes.
Gosh, gosh and
And
golly.
that's it's cool. This book is
This
a
is the
retelling.
butcher's daughter. Let me go ahead. I'll
The,
share my screen here in the
okay,
chat, and you can
perfect.
hopefully can talk over it here. Let's see if it
I
actually works.
shall indeed. I
Let's
am
see if
an
it actually
expert
works today.
talking over person.
Yeah, practice makes perfect, right? Okay, here we go. Yeah, there we go. And so I'm gonna go ahead and try. Go ahead and say you should be able to talk now over the thingy.
That's fabulous. So yes, The Butcher's Daughter is a retelling of the Sweeney Todd story, but from the point of view of Mrs. Lovett, the pie baking helpmate. As you'll recall, Sweeney Todd started as a penny dreadful, really in the 1700s, and was a barber who was a psychopath and who was murdering people in his barber's chair. And she was downstairs in the pie shop, Mrs. Lovett, making pies that were filled with the remains of the victims, and she was selling them to people on the streets of London. And there's a lot of attention paid to him over the many versions,
And
and there
and
have been
England
many
has not
versions.
had a decent meal since.
No, although, yeah, exactly. I mean, they went from that to eel, and then, now to where we're at, boiled dinners. So there'd always been a lot of attention on him. There'd been very little attention on her, and her story never really quite made sense. And so, shortly after Stephen Sondheim's death, he, of course, was responsible for a musical about Sweeney Todd. I contacted my agent and said, I would like to give this a try, but I'm going to need some help. And my agent actually had another writer on her roster, Corinne Lee Clark. And my agent brought the two of us together, and we worked together for about a year and a half on the book. And it's 100,000 words, Phil. It is a big fat book.
Hokey smokes Bullwinkle. That is
That is
so many
huge.
words.
It is so many words. It is so many pages.
Gosh
There's
and
so
golly.
much going on. There are so many twists and turns and shocks. It's delightful in a dark sort of way. And it comes out almost exactly a year from now. In fact, just under a year from now. Soho Press in the United States has launched a horror imprint called Hell's 100. It's going to be part of that imprint. And in the UK, the cover that you have there, it's going to come out from Titan Books. And so that's great. So we are just, I'm hoping, we're about to find out. Yeah, that's me. We're about to find out tomorrow if we're entering the copy editing stage. And if we are, then the bulk of the heavy lifting is essentially over.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, it will be awesome. And then we
Yeah.
can concentrate on other things that are
Hmm.
part of the process. So it's great. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, exciting. What a project. Um, what really? I mean, how do you even? Why, David? Why?
Why, David? Why? Why, David? Why? Well, I mean, the first thing that happened was that when Stephen Sondheim died, it was the Washington Post who put out an obituary that clearly they'd had for a very long time, and obviously have continually updated it. So there's no excuse. But they actually, in describing the Sweeney Todd musical, left out the Mrs. Lovett character entirely. And that actually was what prompted me to consider what her role in the story is and how it could be told.
Like
The reason why I couldn't
those
possibly
bastards. I just imagine you like
exactly
reading
it
this
was just
obituary like
and she was just
newspaper,
not there. She was
pipe
just not
like pipe
there.
in your mouth, like it drops to the floor.
That's
Crumpled
me.
newspaper. It's like throwing it on the ground. Those
Yeah,
bastards.
in outrage. But I realized I couldn't tell the story myself because it would take an enormous and did take an enormous amount of research because I wanted to set it in Victorian England and I wanted it to span from when Queen Victoria first sat on the throne right through to her golden jubilee. So 50 years. And it's and a lot happens in that 50-year period just in terms of industry and technology and medicine and stuff like that. And that's where my agent Barbara suggested Corinne because Corinne has a very strong background in all that stuff. And she also loves all things Gothic. And this was very much a Gothic horror thriller. And we had great fun working on it together. I mean, it was a ton of work and we worked really fast, but I think it turned out really well.
Really excited. Yeah, looking forward to when that comes out. I will, of course, get the author's signed edition with complete with mysterious stains.
Yes,
As is.
absolutely.
As is.
I will ensure that I put some mysterious stains in there specifically for you.
Yes, I mean that's the real value I feel. Yeah, I'm pulling up your so your kind of first. I guess would we call Red X your first like big boy novel?
Yeah, I mean,
Is
it
that
depends
fair?
on your point of view. The first book, which was The Bone Mother, was the
Mm-hmm.
one that got a lot of sort of award nominations and attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really learning how to write, a long piece, even though it consists of many tiny ones, trying to sustain a narrative in some way. And then when it came to Red X, that was really, you're right, it was very much a big step forward.
Mm.
Also, I mean, not that one should obsess over word counts, but The Bone Mother was
I was
50,000
gonna
words.
say it's like 3 times as long. Like
Yeah, honestly, and Red X is about 80,000 words,
yeah.
and yeah, so I never want to go, large coming from me to say this. I never want to deal with something this long. Again, I want to go back. I want to go back to the smaller sizes, the more
Uh,
comfortable fit.
and so then,
So
of course, the next project is even longer.
no, actually, the next project is a haunted house novel that I
Okay.
actually set aside in order to work on this one. And I am determined that this haunted house novel is only going to be about 60,000 words. We'll see. You never know. But that is fully my intention is to go in quick, have the effect I want to have, and then back right out again.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's ideally, that's how you do it, and that's also your dating app profile, isn't it?
Well,
I
if
mean,
it's
yeah.
not done in 45 minutes, then something is wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're risking a friction burn at that point. I
Well,
think, yeah,
yes.
among
Well, at
other
this age,
things.
I'm risking more than a friction burn.
Ayo. Yeah. All
Exactly.
right. All right. So yeah, I'm looking at some more stuff here. I want to talk a little bit about yeah, I mean Red X. I feel
Mhm.
like I feel like everything I mean this is one of the things of yours Bone Mother I didn't see as much just in my regular day-to-day life. Like I see, obviously you're a friend of mine. I see when you post about your book and stuff like that. But I feel like with Red X, I was seeing like, oh shit, like that, like that's David's book, like on posters and like in stores, and like that was pretty awesome. To just randomly happen upon. Do you have any like when to you did were you like, oh shit, I'm an author now?
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know that I've ever and may never have that feeling, but for Red X in particular, the New York Public Libraries chose it as one of their best books of 2020. No, 2021. And I thought to
Yeah.
myself, I didn't even know they were aware that I existed.
Right.
Like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And so that was really
Yeah.
cool.
That is extremely
And
cool.
Rakuten Kobo
Hmm.
chose it as one of the top 20 books overall
That
from that year, which was really shocking to me. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
one of the places I saw it because I have one of those that's my e-reader of choice is one of the Kobo models.
yep.
And I was on their store and I was like, oh shit, I know that guy.
Yeah,
That's-
it was
yeah.
so that was sensational. I mean, I'm used to being sort of like, well regarded within the horror field or well regarded as a Canadian author. It was really strange to find myself being put into this like massive international category. And it kind of blew my mind. And then, of course, then you see how many books you've sold and then you come right back down. So
Back to earth.
back to earth, but it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
And really, the goal more than anything is to first of all enjoy myself and improve my craft and have fun, scaring people and challenging them with various things, but also just to reach as many people as I can in a variety of different ways, and to be kind of a good ambassador for queer horror, which for
Mm-hmm.
me is like an extremely important part of my life, my career, and my creative makeup. So
Well said. And or as the was the Globe and Mail a master of bowel loosening terror, I believe they
yeah,
called it.
that actually came from a play that I wrote many, many years ago.
That's pretty
And it
cool.
was meant to be a backhanded compliment by the theater reviewer. And I kept it in the back of my mind. And when I went through my career change and sort of left theater behind and moved into fiction,
Hmm.
I thought to myself, I could do something with that. I can do something with the master of bowel loosening terror. And then I realized the thing to do is to really lean into horror,
Yeah.
which I had really held back from when I was working in theater, because there isn't a huge market for horror in theater. There should be, but there isn't.
Mm.
And there certainly wasn't at the time that I was writing it. And so I just thought to myself, okay, I'm going to see what I can make of that. And I'm going to see if I can sort of live up to this, this nasty thing that was tossed my way
Oh,
that I
oh, I'll
actually,
show you loosen bowels.
yeah, another thing that's a function of my age. So, it's,
Ew.
I'm right there with it. So,
Mm.
so yeah, I took it as a challenge, and the first book, I actually, as I was writing the first book, I thought to myself, oh, it's too mild. I'm being too meek. I'm being too
This is
tender. And so I shoved some things in
I love
and
that. I love that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it sprang open. And Red X was,
Mm.
even more intense. And there are parts of The Butcher's Daughter, I mean, as if you couldn't tell from the title,
Mhm.
that are absolutely sort of, gruesome and startling and exciting and
Mm.
violent. It'll be
Yeah.
interesting seeing how people react to it.
Yeah, I mean that at the end of the day, that is sort of inevitably what happens next, right? Like
Yeah.
the in the wake of the creative act, it's like, well, now it is out there for people.
Yeah.
I hope that they at least buy it. I don't know, right?
I hope
You're
so
you're
too.
like, I don't even care if they like it at this point. That's like personally, that's kind of where I'm at. Like creatively, I'm like, I don't even care if people like it. I just care that they pay money for it.
Oh
Like,
yeah, if they pay money for it and hate it, it's still the same
like
money.
no,
I'm more
yeah,
than I'm
thank you.
thrilled.
Yeah, those pizza rolls taste just the same, sir. Thank you so.
Exactly. And I mean, now is the most difficult, now to about 3 months after the book comes out is the most difficult time because it's just a lot of waiting. I've been through it with previous books, obviously. Corinne has never been through this at all. And so
Mm.
I've had to, both me and Barbara, we've had to sort of tell her, you're going to lose your mind and you can't.
Have
You're
you
going to be clawing at yourself and you can't. You
have
just
you
have to
have
wait.
you ever seen a happy author? No.
I maybe on the deathbed. I don't
Mm,
know. I
mm.
don't know. I mean, the world isn't really set up for happy authors. Even rich authors are not particularly
Right.
happy people.
Exactly. Yeah,
If you're going to continue to
let's
be
get
driven.
Joanne.
Yeah, oh, let's not look at Joanne.
Gosh. Ugh.
Let's leave Joanne out of it. And this is,
Yeah.
but it's the truth, right? Enya goes, sits in her castle, doesn't say boo to anyone. You never hear from her. You never see her. Joanne
And we're all
is
happier
like
that way.
is it, Queen Grumpy Guts. We hear about her every 30 seconds.
Just
She's,
angrily tweeting from the toilet in her castle.
yeah, absolutely. It's like, are you insane? What? And of course the answer is yes.
Well,
And she's kind of, but of
clearly.
course it's a different mode of communication. And you lead yourself to believe that what you're doing is incredibly important when in fact it's not, and that you're some sort of, leading voice when in fact you're not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very frustrating. And I will say that I'm grateful that a lot of the success that I've had has come slowly and has
Mm,
come at times when I've been an adult and has come at times when I've been able to reflect and look back and figure out, how I got to where I am and what I'm all about. I of course would always love to have more money. I certainly don't want to have that much. And I don't want to have the brain damage that goes with it,
yeah,
apparently.
I don't think anybody should, but yeah, and
No.
but buried in there was a very good point about like I think about this myself as well that like I feel like my life would probably be worse in a lot of ways if I had been more successful as a youngin. Like, if
Yeah.
like, partly just from people trying to take advantage of you when you're younger, but also partly just from not having enough experience to have like your
No.
bullshit detector very, well calibrated and like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be either surrounded with really, really good people, or you have to have an incredible sense of self. And I think
Mm,
it's really rare. And of course, I've had friends who've had various levels of success from when they were quite young, into their like say early 30s. And a lot of struggles have gone with it, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things they weren't prepared for and needed to actively recover from.
right.
And I mean, I knock wood, anything can happen, but I feel, extremely grateful that I was spared a lot of stuff. I
Mm.
unfortunately was spared money, but I was spared a lot of stuff that traditionally goes with it. So
Spare the ravages of
the
wealth.
ravages of money.
Oh
Yeah, no kidding.
no, stop the ravages. Yeah. Well, David, we're at our time here.
Mhm.
It's been great talking with you. I will have you back. I queued up some other stuff for us to discuss, but I will just have to have you back on the show.
Oh, that will be so difficult for both of us.
I know, I know. Thanks so much, David, for joining us, folks. When's the new one come out?
The new one comes out May 25th, 2025.
The Butcher's Daughter, May 25th, 2025. Excellent title for a book. I'm sure also soon to be its own acclaimed theatrical production. Because, who's happier than authors?
Well, we're gonna have to start dragging more miserable authors into the mix if it's going to be like that.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Okay, thanks so much, Dave. We'll talk to you later. I'm going to take a quick break here and hit that middle of the hour ad break, folks. We will see you back momentarily.